Well, hey, mamas. Jessica Coulter here. We're going to study with Jessie. That's me as we talk about preparing your soon to be college freshman for, that first year. And we're focusing on study skills today. We're focusing on those school supplies, those study resources your teen will really need as he or she moves into college. So, if you've been around here for any time at all, you know I am a study skills tutor. Teaching teens how to love to learn, right? Teaching them actually how to learn is my bread and butter. It's what I am passionate about. So I'm curious if you're watching or maybe even catch this as a replay. I want to know, does your teen know how to study? I want to know with a simple yes or no down below. And do also want to tell you, at least on YouTube, I didn't do it on Facebook. I'll make sure to put in a comment, but would love to schedule a talk with Jessie between you and your teen, your young adult, you're about to be a college student, so we can make sure your teen actually has those skills. Okay, because I don't want to make this salesy, but I do want to tell you that as a study skills tutor, I have created a program called Love to Learn because so many students do not know how to study. And the cool thing is, no matter if you have a middle schooler, high schooler, or a college student like we're talking about, the study skills are the same. Okay, there are 12 of them currently in my program, always adding to my program, modifying, making it better based on student and parent feedback. So definitely, if you want to know more about that, would love to tell you more about it. But my goal here today is to tell you that your children have to have study skills in order to be successful that first year college. There's a big, big difference between high school and college. Now, if your child's taken a bunch of college classes already, like dual credit, that's awesome. If your child's enrolled in classes right now over the summer, that's cool. If it's at a community college, but then your child's going to 4-year, it's going to be, similar, but really very, very different. And if your child has, never ever taken a college class, he is in for a world of surprise. Now, one of the biggest things I want to ask you all, other than does your teen already know how to study, is that part of your teen's routine? Does your teen normally study? Has your teen, gotten into the habit of, okay, no matter if it's a quiz, if it's a final, no matter if it's for freshman English, if it's for junior biology, whatever, has your teen really figured out those study styles, those study tips, those strategies, those learning styles that work for your teen? Okay. If your child does not know, I'm not surprised. It happens all the time. I meet a lot of parents, a lot of mamas who get frustrated. Why is my child's grade like this? Why is my daughter failing this class? Why does he not seem to know how to take notes? Why is, time management such a problem? And the thing is, our teens don't have these executive functioning skills. They don't have these study skills because they've never been taught them. Okay. And unfortunately, when your teens go into college, they're a lot more independent. They're a lot more on their own. And which I guess is the same thing as independent, but you really can't be there to hold their hands. You can't be nagging. You can't be reminding. You can't be, checking in, because there's a good chance that unless your teen lives with you, your teen's at a different campus, maybe across the state, maybe in a different country even, and your teen has to have these study skills. So would love, 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 love to help. Would love to get your teen started on learning how to learn before high school into college, okay? Because definitely if you've got a college freshman about to be, we're running tight on time, but I have a 3-month program and a 6-month program, so we can definitely talk about those. And do know that we really have to get your teen in that habit of studying this summer, because there are things you can do around the house. There are ways to implement study skills into summer learning. That study skill I mentioned earlier, note taking. It's so easy for your child to start taking notes. Okay, obviously I have my 7 note-taking rules I want your teen to follow. But something as simple as when your teen's watching a movie, take some notes while listening, while watching. While your teen is, at an interview for that summer job, hopefully your teen takes some notes during the interview. Maybe your child is, actually taking a summer class. Make sure we take notes. These are things that your teen can do during the summer to get some study skills practice. As to time management, your teen has camps. Your teen's hanging out with friends. Your teen has a job. Mama, take a step back. Do not remind your teen about, hey, you took that early shift today, get to work by 9. Don't say anything when you know your teen should not be still in bed, then should be instead, getting ready to take his little brother to camp like promised. Okay, so do not say anything. Let your teen practice these study skills independently. And like I said, I'm here to help however much ever. I am, like I said, if you're just joining us, study skills tutor, the owner, the founder of Ace Cookie Tutoring. So definitely, as the study skills tutor, I'm here to help. Okay. And as a side note, really quick, before we talk about study kind of resources, the school supplies, do know if you're here on Facebook, if you're here on YouTube, that's awesome. Be sure to follow, be sure to subscribe, because there will be more videos about preparing your college freshman. All right. What else can I tell you? Well, if you've got questions about kind of the study skills, I don't want to dive too much here because it's so much easier to do a talk with Jessie with you and your teen, figure out, what's actually going on. What are you really worried about? What does your teen feel prepared for? Those are things we'll talk about one-on-one, much easier than here live on Facebook or YouTube. But with the school supplies, I'm passionate about learning styles, about personal preferences, because it makes a difference with study skills and like the actual act of studying. But then it also makes a difference with what things your teen needs to keep track of assignments, to manage time, to, write those notes. So some of the absolute most basic things I want all college students to have, pretty much in this day and age, a laptop of some kind is needed. Okay, the school might provide that. You might have all of that built into tuition. So I encourage you to make sure you know where we are on that. But unless teachers aren't going to do online assignments, unless teachers aren't asking for, electronic computers, I'd assume that you probably need to make sure your teen has a laptop. If not a laptop, some access somehow, some way, because lots of, libraries have computers still. There's probably computers on campus, but in class, it can be helpful to have your own device. Okay. On the non-electronic side, I really, really want students to have folders. I love the plastic folders. I forgot to grab one, but the plastic folders with the brads, those are my absolute go-to when it comes to folders. And I also want your teens to have colored pens. Okay, now depending on what classes your teens taking, what major things, sometimes red pen, green pen, bright neon colors aren't always appreciated or accepted. But definitely for visual learners like me, we want your teen to have those different colors. We want your teen to be able to mark things, highlight things. And again, colored pens versus highlighters, I'm always going to choose colored pens. So I have all sorts of other tips, thoughts for you when it comes to study skills and those study resources, school supplies, but want to keep this short, sweet, hopefully to the point. So thank you so much for watching. Again, I'm Jessica Coulter, CEO and founder of Ace Cookie Tutoring and Study with Jessie. I hope to talk to you soon. I hope to talk to your teen soon and make sure your teen has those study skills to be successful next year. And if you're at all worried about your teen getting homework done when you're not there to remind without, having to send texts every day to your teen about, hey, how's school going? Definitely grab my Homework Buster. It's 5 tips to bust through teen's homework objections. And this is awesome no matter if you're watching, you've got college kiddos, or even high schoolers, or even middle schoolers. So have a good night and see you tomorrow for the next video. Bye, mamas.